Mhm. All right, wait. Give me a second while I get it. Hold on. How much am I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Okay, for maths, we'll be looking at for tonight. We'll be looking at the Kada papers, and from here we shall have a look. If you guys have any questions at any time during class, please feel free to ask me. And with that, we shall begin. Okay, as a question, actually, I'd like to ask for. Okay, let's have a look at the start of this paper. For start paper, we start by looking at question one, which is a set question. And usually, most Kurtas duo starts with a set question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you guys in sets? 1 being you suck at it, and 10 being you're a master at it. Which one are you? So basically, 1 means it's super easy, 10 means it's super hard. 7. Ah, okay. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Seven. So for this question, would you want me to skip it or do you want me to go through it? All right. Okay, next one, number 2. Okay, so do you want me to skip this one or do you want me to, or do you want me to go through it? Since Shan, you're actually the only student here, unfortunately. But yes, we can skip this one. All right. Okay, this one. Ah, medical insurance. Have fun. Can we discuss question 3? Okay, good. Cool. Insurance is a very, very complicated topic, but I'll try to make to have it be explained as best I can. Jam, eh? Okay, now then. Oh, and on extra note, since there's not many people tonight, unfortunately, I'll only be able to go through this class until 9:30. So yeah, I'll try to do as many questions as I can at that time. Jam, eh? Maths kada. But yes, this class will end around 9:30 basically. So Hyrule Azrin has a major medical insurance policy with a deductible provision of 700 ringgit and an 80/20 co-insurance participant clause in its policy. Calculate the cost borne by Hyrule Azrin himself if the medical cost covered by his policy is 30,250 ringgit. So, okay. So let's talk about co-insurance. Now, co-insurance is, how should I explain this one? Let me just get you a textbook, and then that way you can have a look. Because co-insurance, it requires you to have a required insurance, but it's hard for me to explain it in without showing it. So give me a moment while I pick it up. Mathematics guess it's 5. Hmm. Should we bookmark this? Mm-hmm. Okay. So wait, no, I should probably flip straight to it. Give me a moment. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. Japan. You have insurance and two. So co-insurance and deductibles is something that a lot of students struggle with, and especially since it's actually a new part of the curriculum. So I'll try to explain it as best I can. Okay, so deductibles, and we have co-insurance. Now, if we're looking at this, if for co-insurance clause, okay, this will probably make no sense. So I'll try to explain it in a bit. For the co-insurance clause in property insurance, blah 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 blah, it's required to insure its property as to the amount, based on percentage of co-insurance determined by the insurance company from the insurable value of property. If the insurance provision not met, the policyholder will have to bear some loss to guarantee insurance company. Now, this you might not be able to understand. So let me explain it in a bit. Or maybe you are able to understand, sorry. Basically, co-insurance means that if we are doing co-insurance, because remember, the main objective of insurance, the insurance is basically where, yeah, insurance basically means that you pay a premium every month or year, depending. So that if you suffer a loss, the insurance company will help you cover it. Will help you cover it. For example, let's say you get into a car accident. If let's say you get into a car accident, then you might suffer a loss of your car, and your car is like, let's say 500K. However, if you insured your car beforehand, then they'll help pay for your 500K. So they'll help pay you for your loss. So let's look at this. Hyrule Azrid has a major medical insurance policy with deductible provision of 700 ringgit and an 80/20 ring co-insurance percentage participating clause of policy. Now, what does 80/20 co-insurance percentage participating clause mean? Actually, let's look at deductible first. A deductible is basically, how should I put it? Deductible is equivalent to how much a person should pay to cover the cost of a loss before insurance company can pay. Okay, maybe this will look hard in sentences. So let's say we have a car accident. Let's say we have a car accident. Let's say I've insured my car. My car costs 500K, for example. And let's say I insured my car for this 500K, completely insured. Now the next part is, let's say my insurance has a deductible. My insurance has a deductible, a clause in which they say there's a deductible of RM5 of RM1000. Basically, what this means is that if I ever get into a car accident in which I lose the entire car, then they won't pay me 500K completely, but they'll pay me how much they're covered. Basically, the claim is the amount that I can claim. Let's see. The amount that I can claim, the amount of compensation actually, is equal to this 500K minus 1,000, which is 1K. Because that 1K I have to pay on my own, whereas they will pay for the rest. So yeah, deductible is basically the amount of money you have to pay to cover the cost of your accident before the insurance company can pay for it. So yeah, okay. Everyone clear on this? Chen, are you okay with this? Or do you want me to explain it again, deductible? I'll try to explain in more detail using a textbook example. Chen, you there? Chen. Chen, you there? I'll continue once you reply because you're the only student here. So yeah, if you happen to be AFK, then that'll be unfortunate. Mhm. Okay, I'll be working on trying to write this all down. Chen, when you're back, just type in the chat. Unless my screen is glitching, then that'll be unfortunate. Ah, okay. All right. Don't worry, don't worry. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So, do you want me to explain deductible again, or did you, or was it, or do you want me to move on to the next part? All right. Okay. It's okay for me then. Yeah. So yeah, deductible, right, is just basically how much you need to pay before the insurance company can compensate you for everything else. So co-insurance is another thing. Now, co-insurance is a bit complicated, but also not really. Okay, let me explain what I mean. Let's say they give you an 80% co-insurance clause. Now, an 80% co-insurance clause that, let's say, for example, I have a house. And let's say the value of this house is 500, no, not 500. Actually, no, 500K, no, 1 million. One, let's say 800K, there we go. Now, let's say I have this house, which is 800K. Now, if let's say I were to calculate 80% of it, okay, required in if I were to calculate the required insurance, it would be equal to 80%, 0.8 times 800K, which is equivalent to, let me get the calculator, 0.8 times 800K, which is 640. So you'll get 640K. Now this refers to how much insurance you have to pay, you have to insure, how much you have to insure for the house so that you get full compensation. Let's look at the three examples. Now there's three cases that can happen in this co-insurance clause. And and you'll need to pay close attention because these you'll need to remember all three cases for your in case this comes on exam. Required insurance 640K. Now let's say I insure 640K. Then if I insure 640K and let's say I suffer a partial loss. For example, let's say I suffer like half of this house being burned. Okay, let's say I suffer half of the house being burned, which means like half the cost. It cost me like 400K to repair. So the cost is 400K. The cost of the incident, the cost of like let's say I burned exactly half my house for some reason. Well, not I, but let's say exactly half my house gets burned. If there's a cost of 400K, that needs to be that I lost in that whole thing. So my loss is 400K. Now here's the next part. Now let's say I lost is 400K. My company would compensate me completely with deductible. So compensation is as normal, obviously. Compensation is equal to it follows this formula. Let me get textbook. It follows the amount of loss minus deductible, where let's say the amount of insurance you purchase is less than the amount of is greater than the amount of loss. By the way, if you insure for 400K, I mean, like let's say I insure 640K. It doesn't mean I pay 640K. It means I'm protecting 640K of the house. The amount you actually need to pay for yourself might be like 1,000 ringgit per month, which is how much you insure with, and that insures this entire part of the house. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Like how insurance works? Basically, insuring 640K does not mean I spend 640K to insure. It just means that I bought 640K of insurance, meaning like let's say I pay like 2,000 ringgit per month for my insurance premium. But it doesn't mean I spent 640K to insure. It's just like I insure 640K of the house. Okay, everyone clear on this part? On like how this works? How insurance works? All right. Okay, so going on to the next part. Now the compensation. The compensation would be equal to the amount of loss incurred minus the whole thing. Let me show. The amount of loss minus deductible. So basically, they pay me completely and also deductible loss. So compensation in this case is equal to 400K minus my deductible, which, okay, let's say I put a deductible up here. Deductible is equal to 1K again. So the compensation is 400K minus 1K, which means that they'll compensate me for 399K. Okay, everyone clear about this part? About this thing so far? All right, okay, next part. Now, next part is, let's say I pay less than the required insurance. So let's have a look at this one. Let's say I do an 80% insurance clause, and let's say I don't insure 640K. I insure like what? 500K of the house, which is less. Okay, I want to ask, did I insure more or less than the required insurance? Is this more or less? Like, did I insure for more or less than what was required? Any ideas? Less. Okay, good. So basically, I paid less than my required insurance because I had an 80% insurance clause, which means I should be paying more than this. But I mean, not pay. I should be insuring at least this or more for my house. But I only insured 500K. What this means is that like let's say partial losses will be like this, where it's basically the amount of insurance purchased divided by the amount of required insurance times the amount of loss. Okay. So basically, let's say I suffer another loss, which is half of the house again. So my loss is 400K. Now, what they'll compensate me for? What this means is that since I don't fulfill the insurance clause, it means that the cost has to be shared. And this is exactly what co-insurance, why it's called co-insurance, because it's not only them paying for you, but you have to pay with them, basically. The cost has to be shared among you guys, among both the insurance company and yourself. That's what they mean by co-insurance. So what this means is that since I did not fulfill the co-insurance clause, it means that this loss that I suffered, it has to be shared, which means that they only compensate me partially. They won't compensate me completely for the loss. So let's have a look at this in detail. My amount of insurance I purchased before was 500K. And the amount of required insurance is 640K. So we have this, and we multiply it by the amount of loss, which is 400K. And then we minus the deductible, which is 1K. got deducted by estimated pay regardless. So basically, as you can see, they only compensated partially of my loss. And as a result, if you put this in your calculator, if you were to put this whole thing in your calculator, you'll get 540 divided by, wait, no, not 540, pull up. 500 over 640. And then you multiply that with the amount of loss, which is 400K. And as a result, you get 312.5, which is a lot less than what they would usually compensate you for. But since you didn't fulfill the co-insurance clause, they only pay you this much. And that's not even after that deductible. So we have 312.5K minus 1K, which will give you, of course, by the way, don't write this in K. Just please write in like 312,500. Don't write in K's like I am right now. I'm just doing it to illustrate. 311.5K. So basically what this means is that just now, what happened is that they only compensate me partially because I did not fulfill the co-insurance clause earlier on. I only insured 500K. I didn't insure 640K. So as a result, the compensation a lot less than what I'm hoping for, which is 312.5, and that's not even after deductible yet. So yeah, this is what happens if your insured value is less than the amount of required insurance. So we have, so just now the required insurance was 640K, but I only insured 500K. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, everyone clear about this? All right. Okay, now next one. The last case is a lot simpler than the second one, where let's say I suffer a total loss. Okay, jump in. Duplicating that. If let's say I suffer a total loss, sorry, let me close that. Okay, jump in. If let's say I suffered a total loss, then the story is a bit different. For example, let's say I insure 350K. But let's say I suffer a total loss. Let me try to show it to you. Oh wait, no, I insured 400K, 500K like just now. Like this is the same as just now where I don't fulfill the required insurance. But my loss is complete. Like it's not a partial loss anymore. It's a complete loss. Like the whole house burned down. So my loss this time is 800K. It's not a partial loss like before, it's a complete loss. So in the case of complete loss, then the amount of compensation is equal to the amount of okay. It basically means that the amount of insurance purchase, it means that the amount of compensation that they suffer, that they have to pay is equivalent to the amount of insurance purchase minus deductible. So let's say I didn't burn down the house. I got my whole house burned down, which is 800K. Now, what this means is that for total losses is an exception, where their compensation, there's no fraction or anything. Now, in this case, even though I paid less than the co-insurance policy, they'll still insure me completely for what I insured. For example, let's say I insure 500K. The amount of compensation, they'll pay me back 500K and my deductible up, which is what I have to pay anyway. But yes, they'll insure me completely. And as a result, I get 499K, which is not enough to pay for the entire house since my loss 800K. But I only protected 500K. The other 300 is not protected at all, which is why they didn't pay me back for the other 300. But they did pay me back for this 500K because I suffer a total loss. So yeah, they pay me back this basically. Okay, any question about this part? Wait, actually, are you guys clear about this? No questions. All right. And yeah, basically this will apply at the same time if like let's say I did fulfill the co-insurance clause, it'll be the same thing. For example, let's say I insured 640K, which is enough required, which is enough for the co-insure, which is fulfills the requirement. They'll still just pay me 640K because I only insured for that 640K. The rest was not insured. So yeah, we have 639K. Okay. Everything clear about this thus far? Any questions about this one? Or do you guys want to if you want to digest this, let me know. If you guys have any questions, just let me know as well. All right. Okay, now next one. Job. So let's look back at the question itself that we were saying just now. Hyrule Azrid has a major medical insurance policy with a deductible provision of 700 ringgit and an 80-20 co-insurance percentage participation clause in policy. Now, co-insurance percentage participation. Okay. How do I? Basically 80-20, right? So let me try. Yeah, there we go. Let's say it's 75-25 co-insurance percent policy. If let's say they ask this kind of question, it's simple. Basically, what they're telling you is that they will pay 80% and you'll pay 20%. So yeah, this 80-20 participation clause means that they pay 80% for any losses and you pay you pay 20%. There we go. They pay 80% and you pay 20%. So calculate the cost borne by Hyrule Azrin himself if the medical cost per policy is 3250. Okay, so basically what this means is that they will pay 80% and you will pay 20%. So they're asking how much will be borne by Hyrule Azrin. So this means that you want to see how much Hyrule has to pay. So we have 20, he will pay 20 over 100 times the medical costs. Wait, not, yeah, medical costs minus the deduction. So this whole thing minus deduction. So he will have to pay this much basically. And how much you'll have to pay is equivalent to, okay, 0.2. We have 0.2 times, what is it? 30250. Where's that calculator? 30250. And then we minus this with deductible. And you get 5350. And this is how much you have to pay in the end. Okay, everyone clear about this? Okay, actually no. Any questions actually? Like, do you guys want me to explain? Do you want me to explain again? Or are you clear about this already? Oh, you want me to explain again? All right. Okay, let's look again at this once more. Forgive me. I'll try to explain it as best I can. For this question, let's see. Okay, for this question, let's look carefully once more. Now, what they stated is that Hyrule Azri has a major medical insurance policy with a deductible of provision 700 ringgit and a 80-20 co-insurance percentage participation clause. What this means is that they will pay 80. The first number is how much they will pay. So yeah, they'll pay 80%. As for you, you will pay 20%. So Hyrule Azrin has to pay 20% of the cost. And okay, this is getting harder to, okay, 80-20 co-insurance participation clause. So they pay 80% and you pay 20%. So they want you to calculate how much is borne by Hyrule Azri, which means that the rest of it they will pay. And this is how much you have to pay for himself. So the cost borne is equal to this, where the cost borne is I paid 20% of the total cost. So let's say the medical cost was, wait, ah, okay, hold on. Something in what I wrote was might be wrong. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it was wrong. Never mind. Uh, Jam, eh? Forgive me. I made an error. Basically, what you need to do for this one is, Jam, let me explain this one again once more. You have to check how much they will pay first. So amount of compensation is equivalent to, so yeah, sorry, you might be confused because I was actually doing it wrong the whole time. Amount of compensation is equal to 80 over 100, 80% of the medical costs. So they will pay this much. And minus deductible up, since you will pay deductible. Oh wait, no. This is medical costs after deductible. Okay, give me a moment while I look through all of this. Okay, medical costs after deductible. Ah, okay, Jab, eh? Yeah, you need to take a few steps. Okay. Uh, First you need to find the medical cost after deductible. So how much is the medical cost after you pay deductible? So the price of how much the medical cost will be after deductible, you have to calculate, is 30250 minus your deductible, which is 700. And as a result, you'll get, what is it? 30250 minus 700, which is 29550. This is your medical cost. This is the medical cost after your deductible. How much they will pay you is 80%. So 80%, 80 over 100 times this, basically. 80 over 100 times the medical cost after deductible, which is equal to, yeah, 23640. 23640. And if you want to find the cost borne by yourself, yeah, okay, we actually don't need to find the amount compensation. They're just for to show that they pay that much. As in, the insurance company will pay 80%. Okay, let me write this one down. Insurance company pays you 80%. For example, let's say Great Eastern or something. They will pay you 80%. Whereas you, yourself, you'll pay 20%. So they pay 80% of the cost. There's the amount of compensation that you receive. Whereas you, the cost borne by Hyrule Azrin, which is you in this case, is equivalent to 20 over 100 plus this. 20 over 100 times 29550 and plus your deductible as well, since you need to pay that deductible. You need to pay this deductible, which is why we have to put plus deductible up basically. And once you have that, you will be having your new thing, which is 0.2 times 29550, which is 5910. So this is how much you have to pay. And you plus this with deductible, since you will pay deductible. And you end up getting 6,610. Okay. Now is this clear or do you want me to explain again? Because this might be difficult. I can explain again if you need me to. I can explain as many times as you need me to. Don't worry. Just feel free to ask whenever. All right, clear. All right, then we'll go on to the next part. Actually, yeah, I want to ask on a scale of 1 to 10, because I didn't have insurance in my curriculum since I took the SPM last year, not this year. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very hard and 10 being very easy, how much do you rate the insurance chapter? Like, is it really hard, like 1, or is it like 10, like really easy? 5. Okay. All right. So just like so. Okay. Interesting. All right. Okay, then I'll pay attention to this topic in particular. Since they ask you a lot of child papers, by the way, so you need to watch out for these. Okay, now next one. Where are we? The next question. Where did I put that? Hold on. Good, there we go. Okay, in the next one, the vertices of A, B, C, D, E, and F are positioned at 600 village, while the edges represent Papuja houses. Specify weight is the distance for Japan. Okay, do you want me to explain this one or do you want me to skip? Because this is also a new chapter and I can't explain it if you want me to. I think we can skip this. Oh, okay. All right, then we'll skip this one. Next one. Ooh. What about this one? Do you want me to explain this one or no? Okay, I'll explain this one. Jump in. Complete the following table 5 and draw the graph of y equals cos x for 10 degrees less than or equal to x less than or equal to 270. Oh, I need to take 2 screenshots. Hold on. So this is the first part and this. Now complete the following table 5 and draw the graph. Actually, it's just the same as what you're used to. But this time you have to look at the coordinates. So we need to complete this graph. Now, okay, wait, Chad, do you have a calculator with you right now? Or no? If not, then I can use my own. All right. Wait, do you have a calculator? All right. Okay, now try to fill in this blank for me. What would be in here once you put the value of x? Okay, -1. All right. So this would be -1. Now let's look at the whole table. Thank you for the answer, by the way. So, so -1. So next one is, so the next one is where were we? Ah, there we go. We have this whole thing. Now, what you need to do is mark all the coordinates that you found. So I'll mark them with yellow since that's a bit clear. So we have 0 degrees. We find that 0 degrees is 1. So we put 1. Next one is 0.71. We have to zoom in and find 0.71. Hold on. We have 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we have to mark all of these coordinates, by the way. So yes, that's the not very fun part about this chapter. And then we have 0. Then I'll do this for the same one down here. Also, this will be -0.71. I mean, this 0.71 to be clear. And then we have -0.71. I can't really show it to you clearly since it's a graph, but I hope you can follow. So, where the fuck? Okay, there we go. 0.5. We have 0.789. Wait. 0. Okay, job, man. Let me clarify all this. 0.5. 0.55, 0.6, 0.65, 0.775. Okay, yeah, this is -0.71. So -0.71, we have to mark that down for 135 as well. So you have to mark all of these down. Of course, if your teacher tells you that you don't need to mark these down, I highly suggest you follow your teacher since I am not entirely certain as to how the curriculum works. But yes, we continue. We go -1 as what you found just now. And next one is 225, -0.71, which is up here. I hope. Yeah, there we go. We have -0.71 and we have 0. Now we go to this point and we have to connect all these dots to make the graph. And that's basically it. That's literally all you have to do. If I can just draw it properly. Try to your best to connect all these dots with a curved line, which is not what I'm doing right now. Wait, hold on. Okay, we stop here. So yeah, just draw one continuous curved line and try to make it like this. And you can see it goes like this until 270 degrees left. The reason why it's not your usual cup shape, which you expect from your cos x, because you know your cos x usually looks something like this. The reason why it's not like this is because it was cut off at over here at 270 degrees. Because they only ask you from 0 to 270 left. So yeah, that's basically the entire thing. Okay. Everything clear or do you want me to explain again? All right. Okay, now next one. Next one is this one. Do you want me to explain this one or skip? Hmm. All right, next one. Skip please. Ah, yes. This one? Ooh, variation. But yes. This one, do you want to skip or do you want to discuss? Discuss. All right. Variation. Variation is one of those topics that if you know how to do it, you'll be able to get it quite easily. Since it's not as tedious as things like statistics. Because statistics, you have a lot of working to go through, but variation is a lot simpler. So let's have a look. So if you want to use as little time as possible, I highly suggest you find the variation questions. Now the volume of a pyramid varies directly as its height, h, and area with base, a. A pyramid with a height of 12 cm and a base of 23 cm has a volume of 92 cm. Express V in terms of h and a, then find the volume of pyramid in cm cubed with a 17 cm and the basement area 27 cm squared. So let's have a look here. V varies directly as its height and the area of its base, A. So we look at it like this. One thing about variation, right, is that when they mean variation, is let's say, for example, we have B and HA. Now, let's say we have two X and Y axes. Variation means that every time this HA increases, every time it increases, then V will also increase. And it will increase by a certain amount. And this certain amount is known as K. Which is what you know as your gradient. So this is K, the gradient. K is your gradient. K gradient. So this gradient basically means like how much will V increase when HA increases? So yeah, like that. But I won't go too into detail because you won't need to know this completely for your SPM math. Maybe add maths you might need to know, but for math you don't really need to know as much. Okay, but everything clear thus far? Basically, this one they mean by variation. When HA increases by a certain amount, V will increase by K. So yeah, by a certain amount as well. Make sense? To simplify this further, V varies directly as HA means V is equal to KHA, where K is your constant or your gradient, if I were to put it in a graph. So gradient slash constant, basically. Make sense? Okay, everything clear about this thus far, or do you want me to explain it a bit more properly? You can also just keep on doing these questions without knowing this whole thing. I do not think it actually would be necessary for you to know this for maths, but it's just a deeper understanding of it, basically. Okay, everything clear about this thus far? If you're not sure about this part, don't worry. I'm just want to check if you're clear about that part. All right. Okay, so V equals KHA. Now the first step for any variation is one, you find K. find your constant. Now your constant, okay, it's not always k, by the way. Find k if let's say one of the variables is already k, you can change k to a different letter like c or f or m, anything you want. So basically, constant is just something you make up. Find the constant. Now to find the constant, you have to put the old values using old values. So this one, your old values are, okay, can you tell me all of the old values? What's the starting values that you have? Okay, height is 12, yes. What about the other two? When height is 12, what is the area of the base? And what is the volume? 23 and 92. All right, thank you. So once you have all these three, sub them all in. So we get 92 is equal to k times 12 times a, which is 23. Now after this, you just use your algebra and you find that k is equal to 12 times 23 divided by 92, which is equivalent to, wait, no, it's not. Hold on. No, it's not that. Wait, give me a moment. Sorry. 92 divided by 1223, which if I'm going to put a calculator right now for you to see, it will look something like, calculator. Where's calculator? Okay. Calculator. Sorry, I was checking something. Give me a moment. Uh, 92 divided by 1213. 92 divided by 12 times 23. So you'll get, okay, I suggest you do this in fraction. Hold on. You'll get your k is equal to, okay, it was 12 times 23. Hold on. 12 times 23. Okay. You get 276. So you get 92 divided by 276. Make sense? Everything clear thus far? I should probably not put the second line. Just, yeah, okay. All right, that's good. So next one is, the next one is this. The second step is to, okay, let me duplicate this. So the second step is to find the new value, the new desired value. For example, let's say volume, using k constant and new values. So we know that v, oh shoot, wait, I duplicated wrong. No, I did not. Okay. We know that v, so we have k equal 92 over 276. This means that when you express v in terms of h and a, because we have this, we have to fulfill that first. V is equal to 92 over 276 times HA. So yeah, we have this. Now, once you have this whole thing, or you can also write it as V equal to 92 HA over 276. Once you have this whole thing, find the volume of pyramid with height of 17 cm. So V is equal to 92 HA over 276. Now use a constant and new values. Okay, we know that constant was k, and we also already have it anyway, so this is not relevant. So yeah, this is v. So we can sub this k into our original equation, and we can make it into our new formula. So yeah, we can see it right here. So once we have this new formula, you find a new desired value using the k constant, which I already put in, and new values. Now, Chen, can you tell me the new values? Oh, you already found the answer? Okay, nicely done. Okay. Yeah, I think you should definitely be correct. Hold on. 92 times 17 times 27. 92 times 17 times 27. And you divide this by 276. Divide by 276. And you get 153. And yeah, that's correct. Okay, everything clear about this whole thing? Yep, all right. Okay, so now it's 9:30. I'll be ending the class here tonight. But first, before we end tonight's class, I need to ask you, Chen, and I apologize, this is like a sudden question, but do you have Discord by any chance? Because after this, I'll be going to another class in another one of Hands for Education's other projects. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Wait, Chen, do you have Discord? Oh, you do have your inactive. Okay. All right. So basically, let me show you, and don't worry, this is still the same as Hands for Education's. This is still one of Hands for Education programs. So it's also so this project did it that you're in right now. It is in the same organization as what I'm about to tell you about. Basically, let me show it to you. Save SPM 2021, the server that I'm managing at the moment, is a server in which I teach like every week, and I'm basically teaching like physics, maths, and ad maths here. And you can also like ask any questions you want here. You can hang out with people, other stuff like that. And this Discord server, let me just show it to you. Uh, yeah, there we go. The Discord server looks something like this, where you have like your chat to study room, you have your about, you have your roles, etc. Your rules, of course, you have Sembang, which is where people just talk. And you have channels where you can talk about maths, yes. But basically, save SPM 2021. I teach classes here every week. For example, you can see here my schedule last week. I post schedule like every week here, and other tutors are coming in as well. And yeah, basically, you'll most often find me here. And later tonight, I'll be teaching a class on ad maths as well. So yeah, if you ever want to get more, like if you ever want to, if you ever need any extra help, or if you want to even ask questions, because a lot of people ask questions here in maths and ad maths, like how to do this and this, then you can just go to this server and ask any questions. So let me just send you the invite link. Hold on. Roles, invite, jam. But yeah, feel free to join whenever you want to. Or if you don't want to, then that's fine too. But yes, this is basically the whole server. And if you ever need any help, just text me. My username here is admin, and you can find me there. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay, any questions about this whole thing? About the Discord server? All right. Okay, then I hope to see you in the Discord server because I teach like every week there. And with that, thank you so much for coming to tonight's class. I hope that this class has benefited you, and I wish you all the best in all your academic endeavors, especially with next week since you got an oral. So I wish you all good luck with that as well. So thank you so much for coming, and with that, bye bye.